I'm Shirley Muldoon.
She's an iron horse, gonna lead the way.
I am 73 years old. I was born in Wrench Memorial Hospital in Hazelton in 1939, and I have lived in Hazelton all my life. I have 4 children. I have 9 grandchildren and 1 great-granddaughter. I am married. I've been married for 54 years. We do go berry picking, and I enjoy the berries. The picking is okay too, but I'd rather somebody else did it. Although we used to do it when I was little. We used to go with my grandmother. There'd be children, and I could remember the elders saying to us, if you don't quit running on the berries, we're going to tie you to a tree. But it was fun. My grandmother was, she worked hard. All the women worked hard. I mean, they hunted, they fished, they planted gardens, and my mother did all of that. And that's probably why I didn't like gardening, is because we used to have to help her. She looked after my grandmother's garden and my aunts, because they would go down to the coast every year. So we were left at home to look after 3 gardens and pick berries. I always was able to look after myself. I mean, that's how we were raised. Well, my dad was in the army, so my mother raised us by herself until when he got out of the army, which was 1945, I guess. So it's a long time by herself. And then he worked out in the bush a lot. So we've been independent. My mother was independent, had to be. Our first mayor was a woman of Hazelton. But the men were, they worked hard too for the community. But everybody did. And they were able to pull in the villages. Everybody worked for like the ice arena, for instance. That was built by volunteers. The rodeo grounds was built by volunteers. They used to have sports days in Kispiox, in Kitsagukla, Gitmax, and everybody was there doing what they needed to do. Lots of things went on, and it wasn't, I own this and you own that. It was for us. Anybody in a leadership role needs to be unselfish, think of others, think of the children growing up, and of course greed is the real problem. We know that. Money seems to talk. I don't need it. I don't need the money because I'm on a pension, right? So I'm not suffering any by not being able to work or anything, but there are people that have to work. And I was fortunate to have a job that paid a good pension, and so that's helped me to do the things that I would like to do. Well, I'm on village council, so that takes up some time, but I'm also involved in Kasan Performing Arts, and that's taken up a lot of time. I was really fortunate because the elders that taught us the songs and the dances and wherever were willing to do that, and they didn't care that my mother was born in Newfoundland, Of course, with Kasan, there was always lots to do because it was run by volunteers, basically. Part of the problem now is that you don't have the same involvement because there's too much of other stuff going on in people's lives, and we spend a lot of time in front of a television. And when there is a problem, we don't really address it, kind of hope it goes away, and it doesn't, and it just builds. And that's where we're at right now. It's just what's happened with life in general, I guess. We've gotten too selfish. We need to start thinking beyond ourselves, think community, think the world, really. Because if we don't look after it, what's going to happen?